Alright, I'm gonna do my final look back at my game, what I've made, and sort of reflect on the process and what I have gotten done over the last 3-4ish months on this game. This is the final build of the game right here. As you can see, the main menu and some of these UI elements are new from the last video that I did on the game. If I click start game here, you can hear the audio has also been put into the game. And it's my first level here, sort of modified from my just like debugging demo level that I was using in the creation of the game. And you can see all my different elements here. If we come back to the menu, start the game. I'll actually put us in a different level here. And as you can see, the gameplay is working well. I'm able to collect my bananas. I have a little banana counter up here in the corner that shows how many bananas have been collected once the player gets all the bananas, so 11 out of 11 for this level. Then they move on to the next level. I'm not going to play through this all the way here because it'll take too long. And as you can see there, my health went down, and as it did, I get this game over screen here. So we'll go ahead and quit out of the game here, go into Unity so I can show some of the new stuff that I've done. My different level prefabs that I've made over here, and done my UI work as well that you saw when I was in that build of the game there. This is all done in some manager scripts and empty game object there. If we come into scripts, quite a few more than there were before. I have a sound effects manager, a level manager for how the levels get loaded and when the player finishes each level or chooses that next level button down in the bottom. I have all my UI information here, all the code for the UI, turning those items on and off. And then the rest of it stayed essentially the same, other than just adding in those sound effects and connecting a few things together in these scripts. And then if we come into my to-do list here, what I was hoping to get done, I got through all my priority 1 and 2 items here, which I'm happy about. For a little bit there near the end, I was worried that I wasn't going to get to some of these things down at the bottom here, the menu and UI stuff. I got that done, but a little worried that it wasn't going to get all the way there. Same with the sound effects. I got some in. Definitely could use more, but I'm happy that I was able to get some in there. Definitely helped the feel of the game and improve that quite a bit. And then if we look at the other things here and how I thought that those went, the art and the level tiles I'm very pleased with. That was sort of the thing I was most worried about going into this, was the art and the how I was going to design the levels and what the characters would look like. But I think that those turned out pretty well. Definitely used some inspiration that I found on the internet for those, which helped me a lot, because it would not look as good if I hadn't done that. But I think that I'm quite satisfied with how that turned out, and I think that the overall just like visual look of the game is pretty good. I wish I had something for the background of the main menu, but that's not the end of the world. something that I necessarily need to spend time on. I think that it looks fine with just the green camera background here and the buttons and the simple UI stuff for the game. Come back to my list here. The player movement definitely took more time than I thought it was going to. And I think, again, happy with how that player movement turned out using some information, the videos that I had online to do that for the raycasting, but I think that using the raycasting definitely paid off and helped with the feel of the game when playing it. The banana collection, sort of waited to the end, but got that done. It's working fine. Happy with that as well. Demo scene, I was able to get that done near the beginning after I got the art done. One of the first things I did on the game. And that ended up becoming one of the levels. I think that level actually plays fairly well. Maybe not quite as good as the two that I just did in the last few days to finish off the game, but I think that it's a good first level for the game. The Cinemachine camera, that was easy to implement and definitely, again, helped with the feel of the game. Having that nice, smooth camera definitely helps, and it was pretty easy to implement, so I'm happy with that. As I said earlier, the sprite art, used some inspiration from that, but I think it turned out pretty well, better than I thought it was going to. And similar with the animation, I definitely could have put more time into it if I had that, made some extra time to make those animations a little bit better, but it looks like the monkey's walking, it looks like the bear's walking, so I'm pleased with that. And moving on to the bear movement here, it's a pretty simple system that I have right now. It just sort of bounces back and forth. If it hits a wall, then it'll turn around and go the other direction. So that something where I might have fallen a little short on. It would have been nice if I had done something so that it would detect the edge of a platform and not fall off. But again, I'm happy with how that is working. The lives and deaths, I have my collision detection working. That took quite a bit of time to get going and get working in a proper way, but I think that it's working pretty well at this point, and it's able to detect when the bear hits the player and you lose a life. And that was definitely something that I struggled with a little bit, but again, happy with how it's turned out. I think that it could be added on to, maybe be able to have some way to jump on top of the bear and kill the bear so that you can protect yourself. But other than that, I think that the lives work pretty well in the game. Alright, so the main menu is UI stuff that's sort of combined into the one there. Is one of the last things that I have added. I think that is definitely helpful to have those UI elements in there. It really sort of brings everything together and allows for easier navigation of the game and just lets it be more put together and feels more finished with those UI elements in there. And similar thing with sound effects, just added those in the last few days. Again, just sort of ties things together, gives it a little bit more appeal to the game, and just makes it feel better overall. And one of the other things that I just finished up was putting the levels together. I added 2 more levels on top of the demo scene. They aren't the best levels in the world, but I think with the time that I had to get those done, I'm pretty happy with them. And yeah, I think the game all in all came together pretty well. the core game loop stayed pretty much the same as what I was originally planning on, to have the monkey going and collecting bananas, and once he collects all his bananas, then move on to the next level, and if he gets hit by the bear, then he loses a life. There are definitely some features down here that I'm not having, like this water hazard. Wish I could have added that in, but that would have been, I think, quite a bit extra to get those collisions working and have those be a different like tile map and having all that working. Definitely something that could be added, and it's not the end of the world that it's not in the game. It's just like a extra feature that would have been nice to have, similar with the extra life here. I don't know exactly what that will look like, but maybe like a extra sort of banana or something, bonus to find in the level that would give you a life back. And some of these other things were just sort of like additional thoughts. The room transitions, the game sort of ended up not really needing those. I was sort of a different idea of how the levels would work in the beginning of my thought process. Moving platforms, again, similar to the water hazard, would have been nice to have. I worked on those for a little bit, and they just ended up sort of taking up too much time and not being the most useful way to spend my time. It was more helpful to move on to the collisions and get those working, and I'm happy that I did do that. But it would have been something cool to have those moving platforms, but not necessary for the gameplay. Create puzzles, again, it was sort of like a feature creep thing that if I had the time to do it, then it would have been nice to have some sort of like puzzly type thing in the game. Background music, probably pretty easy to add, but just sort of ran out of time to get that in there. Didn't have any good music that on hand to put in there either. And extra features, had no time to do that, so, or ended up without much time to do that. So it's too bad that I didn't get any of these extra things in there. These all sort of fall under that add extra features idea. The power up probably would have come in the form of this extra life particles, just like sort of a visual appeal thing when you won or lost the game. Those didn't get in there. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the way that the game turned out. Definitely more that could have been added. Thought I was going to be able to get more done, but I think that with what I have, I'm quite happy, and with what I came up with, the core game mechanics are there. Definitely, it looks good. The sound effects definitely help. It feels like a tied together prototype of a game, and I think that's pretty much what I was aiming for. So yeah, I'm happy with it.